What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another segment from our panel discussion on bull snakes and gopher snakes. If you missed the whole thing, go ahead and click here. There's a link to it. You can watch it again. Now, if you want to see these as they come out, subscribe to this channel, or even better yet, join us at Herp Panel Forums on Facebook. That way you'll get invites to the Zoom meetings as they happen. You'll be able to interact, you'll be able to ask questions, and learn a thing or two about something you don't know. I don't know much about the species we're talking about today, gopher snakes and bull snakes, but having these guys on the panel really helped me learn a little bit more about them. It was really fun to learn something new like that. So that was exciting. I asked the guys a question that's kind of important to me, because people often have this impression of snakes being aggressive. We know that they're not aggressive, they're actually defensive or reactive. It's a much better way of describing it. But is that reputation for bull snakes even deserved? And if it's not deserved, are we doing harm by posting these videos and sharing them online? So I wanted to get to the bottom of that and discuss that with these guys and kind of talk a little bit about responsible snake keeping a little. So check it out, see what Lou, Glenn, and Jason had to say on the subject. Are bull snakes aggressive? Lou, these snakes, so the Petrophis, the bull snakes and gopher snakes really have a reputation of being pretty feisty. I want to know, is that deserved? What's your experience with them?
I would say no. Feisty as in like they're hissy and they're like, hey, don't bother me, leave me alone. You know, I'm a big snake. Yes, but hesitant. They don't really, the ones I don't think I've ever been bitten by a gopher snake. They just, you know, they put on this big front like, hey, you know, don't mess with me, I'm going to bite you. But they really don't, or at least the ones I've probably seen over the years, I don't know, you know, 75, 100 gopher snakes, maybe more. I've never been bit by one that I can remember. And, you know, like I said, the big ones will put on a pretty good show and they hiss real loud and, you know, they kind of puff up and they rattle the tail a bit. But nah, yeah, I don't know. I think that's what kind of makes it cool is they kind of look like that and they sound like that, but then they're super mellow once you pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wouldn't let my daughter and my wife went out with us.
Yeah.
As well, and like, you know, we found a decent size 4 or 5 foot one. You know, my daughter's 13 and she goes, oh, Dad, can I pick it up? I'm like, yeah, go right ahead. You know, and she just, wild snake, just grabs it, puts it around her neck, and you know, I mean, could she get bit? Yes. You know, and would it be the end of the world? No. But I mean, you know, I just know the odds are it's not going to bite her. So, and she respects it enough not to grab its head or, you know, like do anything threatening. And yeah, they're just they're pretty mellow in my experience, you know, in a cool way.
Yeah, I think it's the hissing that gets people.
Yeah.
I bring my grandkids in here, and I've got one grandson that every time I open a tub, he says the words, I hope it's not a hisser. No matter what. I said, I'm not going to show you any hissers, okay? So don't worry about it. Every time, I hope it's not a hisser. And it's just that sound that scares, you know, it just kind of gets you nervous. And
yeah.
And I think another aspect of their look, they've got that brow that looks like they're mad at somebody. And then they also have keened scales, which we associate with rattlesnakes. And so I think that also gives it a look of, ooh, it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's all right, not to cut back in, but yeah, it's funny. It reminds me in Hong Kong, I see Chinese cobras a lot. And they hiss like crazy too, and they'll stand up and hiss at you, and it will definitely get your heart racing if you've never experienced it. And the same thing happens with the gopher snake. It's like, oh, this thing's, you know, it means business. And you know, even the cobras there, they'll if they strike at you, they'll actually headbutt you with the top of their head. They're not looking to bite you. And the gopher snakes are the same. They don't want to bite you. They just want to kind of scare you away, I think.
Nice. What do you think, Jason?
Yeah, I agree with these guys. I think that I think bull snakes, gopher snakes, they're kind of rattlesnake mimics. I mean, they'll rattle their tail even. And I have them in my cage and people are like, what's that? It's rattling its tail. It's trying to scare you away. They will put on a show and try to deter you from bothering them. If that doesn't work, they usually just flee. They'll turn and flee. But yeah, like Lou says, rarely do you get a bite from a gopher snake. And they're very indifferent from like a king snake, where a king snake, you could be just holding a snake, and they'll just turn their head and bite onto you. Gopher snakes, they have to strike to bite, and they don't really. Usually, they don't even bite. They bump into you, and it's just a lot of show, in my opinion.
Thank you. Let me move it sort of in the same direction, and this is just kind of a personal thought that I wondered about, and we'll stay with you, Jason, and see if you want to weigh in. Sometimes I see people posting videos of bull snakes doing a lot of hissing and making a big fit. Do you think that sends a wrong message? Is there anything of concern there?
I think I do think a lot of people think that's pretty cool, and I don't know what the right word for that is, but it's like they want something that's big. And I get a lot of people that, do you have a mean bull snake? Because that's what I want.
Oh,
I get that. I get that a little bit here and there, and it's just like, if you're getting your snake riled up to put on a show every day, I just don't think that's a happy snake. I think it's being bothered a little too much.
Well, and so that's what I wanted to know. Like, is what are the potential harms of that for a snake?
I think stress is the first thing that comes to mind. That's a stressed snake when they're putting on a show like that, and especially if it's often. Like Glenn said, a snake that's hiding in a box or something, that's a happy snake. That's a snake that feels comfortable. It's not stressed. It's doing very well in captivity or in the wild.
Yeah, real quick, as far as since I kind of the YouTube thing, it's funny because if I wanted to get like a lot of views, I could just go out and find a Southern Pacific rattlesnake or even a gopher snake and get it riled up and get a GoPro underneath it and force it to kind of, strike at the camera. And sure, I could get, 100,000 views real easy and go, oh, look at this. That's I try and share the opposite. I'll share them if they're hissing some. Yeah, I'll share that and show that. But I'm kind of showing it like he just wants to get away from you. He's trying to scare you. I'm not trying to do the drama thing, which there are a lot of channels that's their thing. Like, oh, if I can show this snake, like, oh, it's going to attack me and it's chasing me and it's, it's hissing and it's biting, that's just not real, and people buy into that, and the young kids look at that and go, wow, that's the way it is, but that isn't the way it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow. So I think that helps really clear a lot of things up. These snakes, they're not doing anything other. Wow. So I think that really helps clear a lot of things up, right? So we learned a little bit about bull snakes and gopher snakes and how they'll hiss. They're not really going to bite. So a lot of people have these fears built in, and especially if you're not a snake person, I know plenty of people who are terrified of my pets. I think it's unjustified, but of course it makes sense, and I know why people are afraid of snakes. It's a human reaction. So getting to know that snakes aren't aggressive, they're not trying to hurt you, but a lot of times they just have defense mechanisms. Wow. So that was actually pretty interesting. Guys, I hope you enjoyed learning something. Wow. So there you have it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed Wow, so there you have it. Guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to Jason, Lou, and Glenn talk about this sort of undeserved reputation that bull snakes and gopher snakes have. And I hope you guys are responsible too when you keep your snakes yourself, and that you're not sharing videos of them hissing and puffing up and trying to scare anyone, because it really gives snakes a bad reputation. As we know, we love these animals, and they don't really need to have a worse reputation than they've already got, right? So do your best part. Wow, so there you have it, guys. Wow, so there you have it, everyone. I hope we enjoyed learning something today. Wow, so there you have it, everyone. Guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to Glenn, Jason, and Lou break down sort of the myth that gopher snakes and bull snakes are aggressive, right? Or that they're feisty. It's just a natural defense mechanism. So a ball python's gonna tuck its head under its body to curl up, and a gopher snake's gonna hiss at you. It's not a dangerous animal, and there's this big misconception that snakes are dangerous, right? And we wanna clear that up because we're snake keepers and we love this hobby. So thank you so much for tuning in, listening to the whole thing. Hope you guys enjoyed learning something, and I'll catch you on the next panel.